All right. Hi, everyone. Just a quick reminder to mute your mic. So I think, Irene, I think you have your mic on, love. No worries. It's okay. This is Zoom world. So I just wanted to thank Megan, Carrie, everybody at B4BC for bringing me on for these past 3 weekends. This has been so special, and I'm honored to be a part of this community. And it's been wonderful to see so many familiar faces or even just familiar names on the Zoom screen that I've met at past retreats. So thank you for trusting me with your bodies. My plan for today was to start off with a little bit of breath work and just a little bit of tactile work with our body, because my goal is always to restructure our relationships with movement. And I know that after having a cancer experience, there's a relationship building or rebuilding that you have to do with your body. So my goal is always to create or recreate within you some more agency within yourself and some reclaiming of movement. So the way we're going to start off is actually with just a little bit of touch to the back of our head. So I want you to take your hands to the back of your head, right where your occipitals are right here. I just shaved the back of my head, so I can't stop touching it anyways. So I wanted to take our fingertips back here and kind of run our fingertips up the back of the skull, just to get a little stimulation of the nerve endings here. And if it feels good to drop the chin down towards the chest, you can do that.
I could call you back.
Hey, Vero, could you mute your mic for me, love? It's all good. And then let's take the fingers right here into our temple area, side of the head, and get a little tactile love in there. And take it all the way up to the crown of the head. Ooh, good morning, skull. Yeah. And all the while you're doing this, I want you to just take some big breaths for me. And maybe it feels good to sigh out. Nice. Now let's make some little fighting fists here. And I want you to take it right here onto your jaw and massage your masseter muscle right here on your face. There was once I did a face yoga session, and it was probably the coolest yoga I've ever done in my life. So if we're going to tend to all the muscles in our body, we might as well also tend to the muscles in our face. All right, let's let that go. I want you to take a big breath in, sit up nice and tall, and then breath out. Now, the first breath exercise we're going to do before we get into some total body movement is called Nadi Shodhana, which is twin river breath. So we're going to be isolating breath in through one nose and out through the other. A lot of teachers like to teach it with supporting your right elbow into your left hand and bringing your fingertips onto the nostrils and closing. If closing the nostrils feels really weird, you can actually just take the bottom of your finger and just plug a nostril like this and just go side to side. So let's plug our right nostril for right now. You don't have to put your finger in your nose unless you're into that. I want you to take a big breath in through your left nostril. Plug it and breathe out through your right. I know it gets a little boogery. In through the right. Plug out through your left. In through your left. Plug and out through the right. Good. We're going to keep going. In through the right. Plug and out through your left. Now, perhaps you start trusting me and you close your eyes. In through the left. Plug it and out through the right. 3 more rounds like this. In through the right. Plug it out through your left. In through your left. Plug out through your right. Nice. Last one, in through the right. Plug it and out through your left. Release the hand down, in through both nostrils and out of your mouth. Nice. Roll your shoulders a couple times. Find a comfortable seat wherever you are. I'm going to transition onto my mat. All right. Now let's rest our hands on tops of our thighs here. And we're going to take one of my favorite movements. It's called Sufi Grind. So we're going to create circular motions with our upper body. Oh, good morning, kitty. So let's take it over to the left-hand side, back behind you, and over to the right. One of my favorite ways to get the entire pelvis awake, the muscles of your spine, even sometimes the muscles in the chest, if you really extend and open towards the front. Now, I'm trying to keep both of my sit bones down to the ground, but it's okay if they kind of softly lift a little bit off of the ground. Let's reverse our directions, moving over towards the left, to the front, and then to the right. Nice. Keep going just like that. We took a nice amount of circles here. We're just exploring where the body bumps into, yeah? So I like to think of this yoga practice or any movement practice as a practice of expansion. Let's take it all the way back to center. And I want you to place both of your feet onto the ground, a decent amount in front of you here. And let's windshield wipe our knees side to side. Now my cheeks are really lifting up off of the mat as I take this movement. Now, if you need some support, if your core is needing a little love there, then you can lean back onto your hands, yeah? Again, the goal is always to make this accessible, not inaccessible. So instead of forcing the shapes into your body, I want you to find how your body can find the shapes. Now let's keep both of our knees over to our left-hand side. We'll sit up nice and tall onto that left hip. Right arm reaches up towards the sky. Jazz fingers are optional. Lean over towards your left-hand side. Now that can just be hand or maybe a lot of depth. You can go forearm onto the ground. Now try to wrap your right armpit up to the sky and then back down. Now listen, if there's any trauma into the chest or around that shoulder area, then you can take your hand onto the hip and again, make this more accessible. Let that be your mantra. Good, let's push ourselves all the way back up. And we'll do that same thing over to the other side. Windshield wipe the knees over to your right-hand side. Sitting up nice and tall. Hand can be onto the ground. Left arm reaches up. Side body stretch. If you've got some depth with you, forearm can come down to the ground. And if there's any trauma around this shoulder or breast area, hand can be onto the hip, yeah? Now we'll wrap the armpit down towards the earth and back up towards the sky. Ooh, feels so good. I like to always warm up your core as much as possible, and your entire center area, even the back and the superficial abs area, is considered your core. All right, everyone, let's take yourself all the way back up. Whew. We'll take everything back to center and we'll place the soles of our feet together for Badakanasana. So knees are opened up nice and wide. You're in this diamond shape here. Try to sit up nice and tall here. Sometimes I like to pull onto my shin bones to help me get taller. And then hinge forward, opening up your hips. I got to put on a good song for the rest of this flow. Yes. Now, for some people, it feels more comfortable to take the heels closer to the pubic bone or further away. So adapt the shape to whatever feels good for you. We'll spend one more breath in here. And one more breath out. Nice work, everyone. Bring yourself back up and we'll transition to tabletop all fours. So however you want to get there. Oof. Good morning, body. Now, once you make it onto all fours, I want you to spread out your hands nice and wide. Really grip the earth. Feel some gratitude for what's underneath you today. And we'll work through our cat-cows. Heart space reaches forward, open the chest. Exhale, round and contract. Navel to spine, chin to chest. Keep going through these cat-cows. We'll do one more round. Oh, I know, Kitty. I love the hummingbirds outside. Yeah. Now let's neutralize our spine. We'll center our left hand and open up towards our right hand side. So my right arm is reaching up, or again, that modification, always hand on hip. If you're able to, float your right foot up off of the ground here. Let's get these abductors awake as well. Small little lifts with this right foot. Up, up. Wow, the cat is very talkative today. My boyfriend's observing me on the couch. He's holding up scorecards as we do this class. Last 3. Nice. Last 2. And 1. Hold right here. Bend into your right knee. Try to pull this knee in towards the chest and then slide your hand down the shin bone. Capture the top of the foot and bring it behind you. So we're opening up the front of your right quadricep. Big breaths in. Nice. Big breaths out. Whew. Let's release that foot. Take everything back to the ground. Square off here on all 3 limbs. And we'll do a little balance. Left arm reaches forward. And I want you to tap into your breath this morning. Thumb is facing up, heel is facing up. Let's flex your right foot. Push away from the mat. Be defiant towards gravity this morning for me. Breath in. Exhale, return the hand and the knee back down to the ground. Nice. We'll do that on the other side. Center your right hand, spin on the right knee. Open up into your modified side plank. Hand on hip again is always available there for you. Left leg is going to lift up. Flex your foot. Little lifts. Hey, glutes. How's it going? Up, up. So apparently my cat's going to scream at me for this whole session. Baby. Last 3. I know, mom life, right? Last 2. And 1, hold it up. Bend into that knee. Bring it in towards you. Let your hand find the shin bone. Slide the hand down. Capture the top of the foot or ankle and take that leg behind you. I know it's a lot. Ooh, stay with me for 3. Big open chests for 2. And 1. Let's release and take it onto that 3-point balance. So both of your hands, the knee is on the ground, and then we'll extend our right arm forwards. Flex your left foot. Right thumb is pointing up to the sky. Ooh, really stamp that foot behind you. Last 3. Last 2. And 1. Hand to the ground, knee to the ground. Let's take it into downward facing dog. Tuck your toes and lift your hips up and back. Now let's stay in this downward facing dog for at least 5 breaths. I want you to pedal out the legs. Yeah. Maybe you need to shake out your head. Yes. Maybe you need to shake it out a little bit. No. Yeah. Good, good, good. And try to find some stillness here in your downward facing dog. And I want you to tap into the strength of the shoulders and be unattached to whether or not your heels are touching the ground. I want to encourage you to bend your knees a little bit. Try to create length through your spine, sit bones to sky. Big breath in, lift your heels. Exhale, bend your knees. Try to compress your chest back towards the thighs. Nice. Inhale, transition to the top of your mat, feet hip width distance apart. Oof. And once you make it to the front of your space, I want you to relax the head and neck, everything down here. All right, my hair doesn't want to stay in a bun, so we'll let it go free. Nice. Now soften your knees, everyone. And really slow, we're going to take ourselves all the way up towards a standing position. Once you make it up to standing, again, lifting up the shoulders, dragging them down your back here. And I want you to take your hands onto your hips. Now let's externally rotate them so your thumbs are going to turn out. Palms are on your low back here. This is going to be a lot like camel pose, just on tops of our feet. Try to press your hips forward, engage your glutes. I want you to feel the glutes engage in your hands and open your chest up to the sky. Notice how much you engage your glutes and how that makes your low back feel a little bit happier today. Wow. Now bring yourself all the way back up tall to standing. If possible, interlace your fingers, press the palms together. Maybe you lengthen your arms down towards the heels. Open chest, breath in. Exhale, hinge from the hips, chest expansion, forward fold. Whew. Bend your left knee, lengthen the right. Let's look over to our right hand side. If you have people doing this yoga class with you, maybe you say hello and hi to them over there. Hi, hun. Hey. I know you're not doing yoga with me, but you're with me in the room. Now let's do this on the other side. Right knee bends, right shoulder to right knee. Look over towards your left hand side. Wow, my outer hip. Good morning. And let's take it all back to center. Soft knees, bend the elbows, release your hands down to the ground, and we'll step back into a high plank position. Oof. Let's soften our knees down to the ground. Bend into your elbows to 90 degrees. Yeah. Now lengthen the arms, lengthen the front line of the body. We'll take this into an up dog. Open up your chest. And with your exhale, downward facing dog, lift your hips all the way up and back. Left foot is going to anchor to the ground. Right leg is going to lift up and it's going to open. I know my legs go all the way up to the sky, don't they? Yours don't have to. They can go wherever they want to. Perhaps it feels good to move the legs here. You can circle them around and around. And then we'll return this right foot back to the ground. Let's do this on the left-hand side. Left leg lifts, hip opens. Big stretch onto that right calf and Achilles area. Nice. Let's return your left foot back down to the ground, everyone. Heels come up high again. Bend your knees, compress. Peek at the top of your mat. Travel to the top. Show me what halfway lift looks like. Lengthen out through your spinal column. And with your exhale, fold. Let's bring it all the way up towards a standing position. And take your hands towards heart center. Now soften into your knees. We're in a chair pose right here. So I want you to sit back like you're trying to go into one of those kindergarten chairs. They're like all the way down here. You don't have to touch it, but I want you to think about sitting back into that tiny little chair. If the chest and the shoulders feel willing and able, find extension through your arms. Last 3. Last 2. And 1, forward fold. Hinge from your hips, make your way all the way down to your mat. Ardha Uttanasana, halfway lift, lengthen. Exhale, plant your hands, step back, you're in a high plank. Glide forward, bend your elbows to 90. The modification is always knees tapping to the ground. Upward facing, reach your heart to the front, glutes are on. Exhale, downward facing dog, lift your hips up and back. Nice. Let's pull our right knee towards our chest and we'll step it between our hands. If the foot doesn't make it between the hands, you can always grab it and take it there yourself. Pivot your left heel down to the ground. Elevate your shoulders above your hips. We're in a warrior one pose. Arms are up, or always hands at heart if that feels uncomfortable in the chest and shoulders. Now I want you to think about lengthening your tailbone underneath you. This is called a posterior tilt. We want to create that so that we have core stability here. Now take your drishti, your focus forwards. Try to draw the ribs in. You're just kind of taking charge of your ship right here. So what does the ship need to do? Press into the outer edge of the left foot. Stay for another breath in. And with your exhale, take your hands down to the ground, framing up the right foot. Adjust the left heel above the toes, and we'll turn this into a twist. Right arm reaches up to the sky. Your outer hip should feel ready for this one. Bless you. Good, let's return your right hand down to the ground. Right foot steps behind you. You can take those chaturangas if you want, or you can just push up and back to downward facing dog. There's so much time for chaturangas, and gosh, you don't have to do them all. I don't like to do them all. Let's step our left foot between our hands. Same rule applies. If it doesn't make it there, you can place it there. I also like rhyming. Let's pivot the right heel down, elevate shoulders above your hips. We'll take it all the way up. Arms are reaching up above or hands at heart center. Now, I like to really take my time when refining a shape. I don't like thinking about mastering shapes. I like being brand new at shapes every time I come into them. So lengthening the tailbone underneath you, my right glute is co-contracting with the left to help create this shape in the pelvis. Arms reaching up overhead. Ribs in, outer edge of the right foot pressing into the mat. Take an inhale here for me. Exhale, take the hands down to the ground. Square off, and we'll work into our twist. Right hand down, left arm reaches up to sky. Think about the legs taking a lot of this work here for you. The right hand can be supportive as well. Drawing in from the core, one more breath in. With your exhale, take the left hand down, left leg steps back. Ooh. And then again, chatas or no chatas, and you can take it all the way back to downward facing dog. 3 breaths. Nice. Take another cycle in and another cycle out. Excellent. Lift up your heels nice and high. Bend into your knees nice and deep. And then transition to the top of your mat for me. Halfway lift, lengthen. And with your exhale, fold. Chair position, bend into your knees. Hands can come straight towards heart center, or you can extend them forwards in front of you. Good. Now try to sit back into, again, that little kindergartner chair. We'll stay here for 3. Stay there for 2. Nice, and 1. Press yourself all the way up to standing. Left leg is going to take a step back behind you. Pick up the left heel, bend into your right knee, using those good body mechanics so that you're in this high lunge shape. Cycle in. Exhale, warrior 2, adjust your left heel down, open up your arms into a T shape. Now again, this back glute is working for you. You're trying to seek a 90 degrees in this front leg, but it doesn't have to happen, yeah? I like to learn all the rules of yoga and then break them immediately. Let's lengthen out through our right leg. Pivot our toes towards that left edge of our mat, and we'll go down into our Prasarita Patatanasana, wide-legged forward fold. Now I like to internally rotate my feet just a little bit so that I can get a stretch into the outer calves and into the outer ankles. Nice. Let's take ourselves all the way back up to standing in this shape. Whew. And we're going to add on with the arms. Hands come behind you. Interlace, press the palms. Open up your chest, inhale. Exhale, hinge from the hips, wide-legged fold with chest expansion. If the chest expansion isn't a thing for you today, your hands can always come down onto the ground. Good, let's return our hands onto our hips and bring yourself all the way back up. Heel toe the feet a little bit closer together. Pivot your feet towards the front of your mat. Widen out the stance a little bit if possible. And we're gonna go into pyramid pose. So this is different from our warrior one, different from our warrior two. Stance is closed off. Square hips to the top of the mat, hinge forward over the hips, and try to work hands to the ground or onto some props. Good, now to take this shape to its peak, we'll turn this into a twist. Right arm reaches up towards the sky. Hand can rest on top of your sacrum as well, just to check for squareness. Let's return right hand down to the ground. Bend into your standing leg. Step the left foot further back. Hands press into the ground. Let's go into three-legged dog, right leg up to sky. Open up the hip. And if your body permits, you can get a little creative here. You can drop the foot back, open up the chest, get a wild thing back bend. Nice. After this, it's our last side of flow, and then we're down to the ground. Bring yourself back home. Ekapada Chaturanga can happen. Urdhva. And Adho. 3 breaths. Lift your heels, bend into your knees, look to the top. I just have a mass of black hair in front of me. That's what the top of my mat looks like right now. Halfway lift, lengthen. And with your exhale, fold. Chair position, bend into the knees, sit back. Again, arms reaching up towards upper hand corner or at heart for 3. For 2. Nice, and 1. Press yourself all the way up towards standing. And then we're gonna step back with our right leg. Good body mechanics here. We're in our high lunge. And I like to, again, create the length of the tailbone, just always, always, always through all these shapes. Inhale, exhale, warrior 2. Open up the back hip. Left knee wants to point forward. Arms reaching out into this nice little T shape. Take the gaze over your left middle finger and create some space for your own versions of this. Now let's lengthen through the left leg. Pivot your toes towards this right edge of your mat, and we're going into our Prasarita Patatanasana again, hinging from our hips and making our way down. Now on the first one, we had hands to the ground. That second one, we had chest expansion. If you would like another version here, fingertips can wrap around your big toes like so. And you can work deeper here. This is your Patatanasana version. Nice, let's take you up one more time. Hands at hips. Elevate, 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 elevate. Whew. We're gonna go down one more time, okay? For this one, I'll offer up final versions. Arms open up to a T. Hinge from your hips, work forward. Now, all those variations are available to you. You can walk the hands between the legs and go deep. If you're more of an advanced yogi and you're like, I want to go handstand, headstand even, you can do those things too. So if you're looking to do a headstand, crown of your head right here is where you're aiming. Once you have your crown of the head on the ground, hands are right underneath where your elbows are. You can shorten up your stance, walk your knees up onto the triceps. If you're feeling a little more adventurous and want to go up, out. Maybe you just want to eat popcorn and watch the show. That's available too. All right, if you're upside down, let's make your way back. We'll take hands onto hips for the last time. We'll bring ourselves all the way up. We'll shorten up our stance. Boop, boop, boop. Nice. And then we're going to pivot ourselves towards the top of our mat. I like to widen out my stance a little bit here. Final triangle pose here. Hips are squared forward. Hinge. Work your way down. This is a big stretch for the hamstrings. Just checking time. Yep, perfect. All right, let's bend into our front knee. Deepen your stance behind you. Hands to the ground. Let's try to get our left leg up to the sky. Open your hip. If you're feeling really playful and wanted to drop back into your wild thing, hips to sky, open chest, stable into the right shoulder. And work your way through. Very last, Ekapada Chaturanga, no Chaturanga. Downward facing dog. All right, everyone. Take your knees to the ground. Sit off to one side. No more load bearing on the arms. But we're going to work into a straddle now. So I want you to take your legs out to a comfortable straddle. I don't want it to be your widest. I want it to be something that's very accessible for you. Cool. And we're going to work into some side body stretching. So left arm is going to reach up, and then we'll take it over towards our right hand side any amount. Hopefully it feels nice and open in this area. Maybe you touch toes, maybe you don't. Try to create chest opening up to sky. For an advanced variation of this, this is one of my favorites. I like to bring my left leg into a bend. My right hand grabs my left ankle, and then my left arm comes all the way up and over. It actually makes grabbing the foot a little more accessible in some instances. Nice, let's take ourselves all the way up from here. Whew. And we'll do this on the other side. Left leg extends out, again, up and over. If you did that other version with me, right foot coming into a bend, my left hand is going to find the front of my right ankle, and I'm going to go all the way up and over towards my left hand side. Wow, my left hamstring is pretty angry today. What did I do to you? Breath in, breath out. And let's bring ourselves all the way up. Ooh. And we'll take both knees into this bent position. Now our final shapes we're going to take before we close out is either your deer pose or your half pigeon. So I like to use deer pose as a modification for pigeon. We're going to start over to our right hand side. So you've got two 90-degree angles. You're going to square off towards the side of your mat and work down. If you are a pigeon person, left leg will extend behind you. You're square off all the way, and then work yourself down. So any of those two versions, available, possible. And just to dispel a couple of pigeon myths, You don't have to have a square front leg, and you don't have to flex your front foot either. I think a lot of people get a little mixed up with what our muscles can do and what our skeletons can do. And all of our skeletons are built very, very differently. So the ability to square could just simply be based on your hip socket and your femur head, the femur bone. And I don't like to force my skeleton to do anything it doesn't want to do, right? All right, darlings, let's take ourselves back to center. So whether you're in deer, whether you're in pigeon, and we'll take that same exact shape now to the other side. So just like we were doing those windshield wipers earlier, check your 90 degrees, boop, square towards the front, feeling it in that left hip. If you did the pidge, ooh, squaring yourself up, woo, and working over the left thigh or left shin bone. You know what I mean. Leg bones. Ooh, I have not been doing pigeon enough lately. Babe, we should do pigeon in our second class today.
I know, I just always think about the hips being neglected.
I know, don't neglect your hips. Words of wisdom from my partner. We'll spend 2 more breaths here. All right, let's bring ourselves all the way back up. And instead of swinging back to center, let's just take this right leg forward with us towards the top of our mat. Now let's show our Pilates skills here. Hands right behind the thighs. Slow roll all the way down. How slow can you go? Like molasses. And we'll take our knees wide around our ribs. One happy baby before we close our session down. Hands can grab for the feet, ankles, calves. And if you want to slow dance with yourself a little bit, giving yourself a little gratitude this morning. A little TLC too, some love. Because your body is deserving, your mind is deserving, and your spirit is deserving of this. Gather your knees into heart center. Give yourself a squeeze. Forehead towards your knees. Big breath in. Good, squeeze a little tighter, another breath in. And with your exhale, release everything down to the ground, arms, legs. Full submission into the earth beneath you. Try to slide your shoulder blades underneath you so that the back of your neck is long. And try to find just a normal breath pattern here. All right, darlings, take a big breath in here for me. And breath out. Good, left hand onto heart, right hand onto your belly. Take a big breath in, feel yourself rise to meet your palms. And breath out. Good, know that I am again honored to guide your body this morning. I am so happy to see everything in this chat, from people to participating to people understanding that they need to rest. Thank you for allowing me to guide you today, the past couple of weekends. Namaste and thank you. I hope to see you again later today for our sound bath.